Or Idleshire. We told the weird flumpy creature all the information. We told them more. I don't know why I keep thinking they're smaller than they actually are, because they're pretty big. They're like almost at Alice and Alphanet's height.
I'm sorry. You mean to tell me not only that the return of night was your doing,
Yes.
but that you hail from another world as well?
Yes.
Everything we told you, of the source, the shards, the 7 umbral calamities, all of it is true. I realize how fantastical it sounds, and I would not blame you for doubting our testimony. But given your expertise, you must surely have noted the peculiar nature of their souls.
Any other time and I would have dismissed your stories as balderdash and flummery.
What's
But
flummery?
upon closer inspection, 'tis plain their souls are far denser than is normal, and that they do not possess true bodies. Save you. Your body is your own. And your soul is the densest of them all.
Well, I mean, there's 2 people in there, so.
As I said before, were it not for their heroism, the skies over Norvrant would still be awash with light, the realm yet at the mercy of Vault-Kerion and the Sin Eaters.
Yep, that's what we did, alright.
After all they have done for our home, seeing them safely back to their own, it seems the very least we can do.
So, what do you think? How long before we get a new Mo plushie on the store?
Intriguing. Yes, very intriguing indeed. Simply to hear it is fitting payment in itself.
Well, it is
As to your
secret
friends,
knowledge.
I can but agree. Their valorous deeds on behalf of Norvrant are deserving of recognition, of their own fitting payment.
Here is 4 gil.
You will help us then?
I will. I would see my knowledge put to good use for a change. I do have one condition, however. I am not the spry young Numo I once was. As such, I will require assistance in my fieldwork and testing.
And fetch quests.
It would be our pleasure. We'll be laboring for our own benefit after all.
What's up? You have spun quite a tale, but tell me, have you given any thought how you might return to your world? None! White or sight, you say? An interesting proposition, but one that fails to account the presence of state of your souls. They have become highly charged, likely a consequence of having maintained tangible forms for so long. In such an energetic, unstable state, there is no telling what would happen if the souls within the Orsite. They could very well become immutable to transference, never to be restored to their bodies. Then would it be possible for us to force our souls into a state of dormancy prior to transference? In theory, yes, but the soul is not a candle to be snuffed out and relit on a whim. And what? Well, that sounds ominous. What exactly would re-rendering a soul's dormant entail? In order to maintain a corporeal form, your souls constantly draw on ether from the surroundings. This process must be halted, and resulting all the extra ether removed. Your minds would be ultimately separated from these faux bodies of yours, rendering you incapable of interacting with the world around you. A cruel fate under normal circumstances, but one which will be rectified upon your return home. Leaving lifeless husks, like those poor souls at the inn in Ginny's Head, corrupted by sin eaters, their ether made stagnant by the light. Corrupted? Stagnant? Might I see these unfortunate individuals? Why? Do you think you might be of any help to them? I might, or I might not, but I shan't know for sure until I've seen their condition firsthand. Then I would ask you to then I'd be glad to take you to them, on the understanding that you won't do anything that might increase their suffering. It was my faith in man I lost, not my compassion. Well, as you know, there's no reason for all of us to accompany you. While you escort our guest to the inn, I will assist Urianger in creating the requisite oversight. I believe my talents would be better applied to that endeavor as well. Might I leave you three to assist Backlug as necessary? Let us make for Amarang, then. To Amarang! Pour me some more drink. I need a bit of the bubbly. And by bubbly, I mean sparkling mineral water. So I like to drink it. Thank you. Alright, now I am going to do this. Because this is going to be faster than getting all the way out there. So, this is Ulrich, is it? Yes, his etheric balance leans perilously towards the light, towards stasis. What do you suppose will happen to him? Not too bright, are you, boy? The same as all other poor souls corrupted by the light. He will become a sin eater. You don't know that. We've defeated the wardens and banished the light from the night sky. Ulrich was never completely unresponsive before, but now. Mumble. Then perhaps there is yet hope, if I may, there is a treatment I wish to administer to the patients. What sort of treatment? In the course of my studies of the soul, I once created a tonic that could temporarily stimulate the ether in one's body. After some refinement, it came to be used by the Knights of Vobert. Then for far darker purposes, the Shadow Games. Lest it fall into the wrong hands, I swore never again to make it, but for their sakes, I will break that oath. It is not like to reverse the stagnation, mind you, but it should also offer some measure of relief. Okay. Have purple juice. Stares blankly at you. It would seem the tonic had no effect. What? What is this warmth I feel in my chest? Come now, you measured for it. I feel warm. My legs. I don't feel as heavy. Now, Dan, have you noted any change in the patients? Notable rise in body temperature and increased motor function. In most of the patients, at least. The more severely affected show no response. Nod. As I feared then. 'Tis true that with the restoration of night, the corrupting influence of light no longer grows. And yes, their bodies will naturally return to equilibrium over time. But this holds us only true for their corporeal ether. Their incorporeal ether, that of the soul, is not so easily mended. Which is why, in those later stages of corruption, like Halric, appear to be unaffected by your tonic. Precisely. The boy's soul is too far gone, his mind held together by the finest of threads. There is a chance that one day he may recover. Of course, that could take years, decades even. By the gods, he could wake up to find himself an old man. A fine reward for his persistence. The opportunity to mourn the life he never had a chance to live. No, there must be something we can do. Look, I realize this isn't why we petitioned your aid, but you think it would be possible to find a way to hasten their recovery? Maybe. Nor do I think it is impossible that in treating them, we might learn something of the relevance of your own predicament. Would you like some roast beef? Maybe some nice salmon pasta? Or a king salmon muriniri? I'll just take the silver pieces, thank you. Alright, we're ready to talk about metaphysical. Let's get physical, metaphysical. I suspect the Crystal Exarch has told you of my past, that I was once a mage of the royal court of Vobert, and that soulcraft was my field of study. The tonic you administered here is but one of the fruits of my labors. I hope to do many great things for the kingdom. But in the end, my knowledge only brought suffering, a plague like the one like which none have ever seen. In the hands of unscrupulous men, that should have been my greatest triumph. Instead, it became my greatest shame. And now you can redeem yourself. That I do. A comforting thought indeed. But let us return to the task at hand, finding a means by which we may revitalize these people's incorporeal ether. Do you think it can be done? Yeah, were the sky still ablaze with primordial light, I would call it an exercise in futility. But now we may have a chance. The method I have in mind will entail the conjuring of a familiar, They will be able to amplify the energies poured into them, making them a perfect conduit for aether revitalizing magics that we will ultimately employ. You're about to launch into a lengthy explanation about the metaphysics of your plan. Don't bother. I'd rather get on with whatever needs to be done if it's all sent to you. Whatever reagents must be procured or spells invoked, I'll do it. If Urianger or Y'shtola were here, they'd probably love to hear about it. I admire your spirit. Very well, your first task will be to gather the necessary materials. The purest water and the finest of clays. I never really think of clay as fine. As well as a fey lantern brimming with pixie magic. If you're convinced the resulting familiar could help with the patients, fine. Alphanode, the water and the clay will be simple enough, but I think you know what we have to do to get that lantern. You don't mean... The pixies took quite a liking to us before. If we humor them with our company, I'm sure they'd be willing to help us. Fine. We'll pay a visit to Ilmek. Though I never thought you would be the one to suggest going back there. I'm impressed you've been there at all, let alone befriended the Fey folk. Oh, while you were about it, seek out the new mole of Pierre Annie. They should be able to supply you with water suitable for our needs. Right, let's get this over with then, shall we? There still remains the matter of the clay. May I prevail upon you to find it? Well, I thought I was going to have to go around and do all of it. Clay from Amarang would likely be best. You know anyone who might be able to assist us? No, not Mordsuk. Let's talk to the miners. Yeah, I still will be able to point you in the right direction, I am sure. While you and the twins are occupied, I will see aught else I can do to learn of the stagnation which affects the people here. Take off on my flying motorcycle. Over the mountains and through the dirt to Twine we go. Yeah, see, these are those things, but they're weird fuzzy things. Gremlin critters looking things. Swords over their heads. I don't know, it just seems weird. Like, what's hard without just having a floating weapon without having a little monster attached to it, huh? I'm gonna have to kill those guys for it. Hey, Magnus. Long time no chat. Vault-Kerion, what a coincidence. You've come at a good time. We've just finished this moment preparing the Talos and trolley that you took to Nabath Marang. The trolley was no trouble, but the Talos would have been another matter had we not had a visit from Master Chai. He offered us a share of the leftover building materials from the Daedalus stoneworks. He, as well as a few of the trade secrets to help us along. Clever man that Chai knows. He seemed pretty clean on the idea I had for putting the giant Talos to work. Like the giant trolley. But Magnus still refuses to see all the good it could do with it. You're entitled to your dreams, jerk. Doesn't mean you can go around harassing our guests with them. Master Chai was just being polite. And something tells me that Vault-Kerion didn't come all this way just to talk about trolleys. What do you need, my friend? I need a trolley. Give me a trolley. I see, it is familiar. It requires clay from Amarang. Well, look no further. If anyone can find you some quality clay, it's us. We just need a giant Talos. Saying that, it isn't exactly a commodity nowadays, but there must be something lurking out there somewhere or other, waiting to be dug up. If I'm not mistaken, there was a time when we used to take the clay from Mount Buren mines to make adobe bricks. The place is swarming with coyotes now, but if you're after the good stuff, you could do worse than look there. Where's Mount Buren? I want this whole thing to end with them just building a giant trolley. Fate joined, but I didn't want their fate. And apparently I sense my mark. Coyote! There we go. I always wondered what this place was. I assume, I mean, they're just expansions of this place, but... Why build it that deep in the mountains? Like, it would have been worse just to try and clear out that area just so you could use it for anything livable and just expanding the city outward a little bit more. Hey, Backlug. The twins have returned, and in one piece at that. I convinced the pixies they would turn at least one of them into a garden ornament, but no. Like Alice just kind of shrugs. You have the clay, I take it? Wonderful. We need to combine the clay with the water and then heat the mixture with the fairy lantern. After that, we will be a simple matter of settling upon a suitable form and performing the necessary incantations. Backlog, I have a question. In the event that we need in the event that we had need of this spell and you weren't around, would it be possible to perform the incantation? Assuming they possess the requisite skill, yes. How reckon the others have suffered so much, and I swore I'd do everything in my power to save them. If there's a chance that the spell could do that, I would be the one to invoke it. Mayhap you should be the one to do so. A deep understanding of the subject's physical state, combined with a strong desire to help them, can drastically increase the magic's effect. Science. And you are plainly more familiar with these people than I. Oh, that's why it's called a familiar. No, it's not. But you know, it's cute. I dare say, there are few in Norvrant more dedicated to finding a cure. Is that not so, Vault-Kerion? Absolutely, she's the best woman for the job. I'll give it my all. For Halric. For Tesleen. And then we are all of a mind on the matter. Alice shall be the one to conjure the familiar. Cutscene.
Let us begin. I trust you've prepared the clay?
The what?
Very good. Now, I would have you sculpt for me a porksy. Plump, with floppy ears and a short curly tail.
Oh, a pig thing. With floppy ears.
A porksy. I think I know what you mean.
We were just killing them, Ellie said. Do you remember that?
There we are. How's that?
What did you make?
Well, it is certainly creative.
Alvino, shut up.
There's no denying that.
Smack him.
Yes, I'm no artist. Very funny.
Pay him no mind, child. Though it may look like a grotesque parody of reality, it is what the invoker believes that matters.
Thanks, Becklug. Wonderful criticism.
You're not helping.
Would I speak the truth? If successful, this incantation will turn imagination into reality.
Don't say that.
Which is why the only thing of import is what you believe this figure embodies. You must focus. Hold the Porksy's image steady in your mind's eye. Now then, as I taught you, relax and allow your energies to flow.
With flesh of clay I bid thee rise, on wings of dreams to touch the skies. What once was idle fantasy, I call forth to reality.
Does it have to rhyme? Because they all rhymed in the dungeon, too.
Not bad for a first attempt.
Now throw that one away and we'll try it again with another lump of
Let
clay.
us see what can be done for young Halric. Through the operation of the magics you invoked to animate this familiar, it is now replete with the energies required to stir the boy's soul. You need but give it a name, and it will do as your heart desires.
Named it Pigsy. Pigsy, Pigsy, Pigsy.
A name.
Pork chop.
All right, I've decided. Now. Go, Angelo!
Not where I was expecting a Final Fantasy VIII reference to pop up, but okay. Oh, we're gonna have to explain this to him. So, but he went back to Mother. By the 12, I thought from the only moment he spoke, but there does seem to be hope for these people. The girl's resolve is quite impressive. One might think she also drew on the strength from another. How is he, Backlog? Did it work? I believe it did. You and your fledgling familiar have done well. If my eyes do not deceive, a hint of color has returned to his soul. God, I would jump for joy for one so exhausted. We're so close now, Halric. As you are even now in the process of discovering, this magic asks much of the invoker. What you may not have realized is the same is also true of the subject. As such, we must proceed with caution. However, with further treatment, I have the utmost confidence the boy will make a full recovery. Observing the reanimation of his stagnant soul has been the most enlightening. I will need time to put my theories to the proof. I believe I can fashion a spell to produce the opposite effect. That is, to induce stagnation. Thus enabling our safe transport back to the source via our site. Yes, that was the plan. A thought occurred to me about this treatment. Backlog said that when our souls are rendered dormant, the mind is separated from the body, that a person becomes incapable of interacting with the world around them. Does that sound like a lot like some of the tempered back in the source? Not really. It's the fate of most tempered to become slaves to the primals, save in a handful of cases, or am I missing something? Yes, you are! If we can master this technique, the art of revitalizing the soul, I know of at least one in the source that could desperately use such a treatment. We're gonna fix the Kobold Kid! Yes! Oh, that would make me so happy if were able to do that in the end. Oh, that'd be so great. That Gaboo storyline was like super tear-jerking. Exactly. His condition is uncannily similar to Halrick's, is it not? The only difference being that his soul was suffused with earth-aspected ether instead of light. It follows that if his soul could be subject to a similar kind of stagnation, there may be a chance we can save him, right? Forgive me, but who is this Gaboo fellow you speak of? He is a kobold. I see. His condition does sound familiar. Yet there is much more about the soul that remains to be unknown even to me. I say this not to discourage you, you understand, but to remind you that this is delicate work we do here. Work requires patience. Of course, as long as there's hope for the patients here, I will devote whatever time I need and is needed to see this through. But I refuse to to spend that time in idleness. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to stay here with Angelo and continue with the treatments. The two of you should return to the Crystarium with Becklug to see if you can make headway with the newly posited theories. I would tell you to rest first, but I see you're not going to be convinced. Ah, the fire of youth. Let us turn to the Crystarium then. Finally, I found you! Says question mark. Ah, you! Kai Shear, what are you doing all the way out here? There's trouble back in Yulmore. Lady Chai's behind herself, sighing, pacing, the whole lot. Nearly enough to be begged me to go and find you. Sighing and pacing, you say? This must be urgent. I take it I will be returning to the Crystarium alone. Go on then. It's not as if I have anything for you to do. Thank you, Becklug. Just going around and getting updates on all the stories. Sorry for bothering you and all that, but she said the future of Yulmore's at stake.